about the future of humanity post-contact. What will happen after the contact with aliens, after the open contact with aliens? And I'm Max Rempel, and I have with me Nadalee Hill from United Experiencers Initiative, the UEI.org, the UEI.org, and we have Ergo and Lottie. Lottie and Ergo both are the same, assign themselves as outsider, composer, artist, and writer. So, welcome everybody, and I would give. Let's start with the newcomers. So, Lottie, would you like to introduce yourself?
Hello, I'm Lottie. I'm from the UK, from a place called the Isle of Wight, which is right down the bottom, and already really ostracised. I am a musician and songwriter of sorts, and was trying to kind of go and do a PhD in philosophy and stuff like that, but my university shut down halfway through my philosophy degree, so that made me even more confused about ontology and stuff if the institution's no longer there. That's my life.
Yeah. My name is Ergo. I am a composer and writer, designer, filmmaker, radio playwright, and my situation is very much outside of the art world and the radio world and the music world. And yeah, also I'm in academia through the University of Bristol. I am kind of notorious for having produced an excessive amount of work across these various disciplines, and have spent my life unwillingly. I will call myself an outsider artist now, but it's not intentional to become an outsider artist. One becomes an outsider artist because nobody in any of the industries will listen or pay attention, even though they're more than aware of what's going on. And the idea of being partly something other than the human makes an awful lot more sense of my life than otherwise.
Sounds great. I have two requests. First, I'm playing with a new software, and if you move closer to each other, I can pack us all together on the same screen if you just kind of touch each other a little bit and center yourself. Like you are like off center now. Can you like, no, just move the camera or the computer.
Oh,
No, the other way around. The other way around. More. Yep.
I'm just going to stay
And now
in.
come closer, and I will click the button, and we all fit. Perfect. Okay.
Okay.
Aha.
Aha. And the next thing is tell about your what attracts you to the aliens. What's are we aliens, and what is our agenda?
Well, I I was never kind of somebody who was a kind of like huge like believer in aliens and conspiracies and cover-ups and all this kind of thing. But then, as we can regale you with, we've had many experiences which were kind of irrefutable to us both, because we something just made a sound downstairs in our house. Irrefutable to us both, because we saw these things. But fundamentally, I guess what I would say attracts me to the aliens is the notion that humanity is the highest intelligence in the universe is absolutely terrifying to me, and we must presume a higher intelligence than the one that is currently destroying itself and its habitat. I also see history as in the I think like the 14th and 15th century, the Catholic Church, which at that time was also the government, went around villages in Europe and carried out this process which they called disenchantment, to remove like the wise woman from the village, to remove local traditions and myths, and bring everyone into this central Holy Trinity way of thinking, and to replace the goddess with the god. And I think that maybe because it's foolish, completely foolish, to say that the universe is what our limited perception uh, suggests it is. But I think that the whole idea, I think that the future humanity, if we make it that far, will look back at the time when this arrogant species presumed that they were the most advanced thing on their planet, which I also don't necessarily agree with. But you know, it'll be seen as foolish that we thought we were alone in the universe, that we were alone in an endless cosmic riddle, that we have actually no real idea what it's about. And any good scientist will admit that science is a system of, you know, is a system of measurement and weighing and trying to figure out what's going on. And the whole nature of doing science is to discover new things, to admit that we're at the beginning of our understanding. So that was a long answer to a short question.
All right. So it sounds too mainstream to me. Like, as an outsider, you should say we are aliens and stop that nonsense.
Yeah, well, yeah. Well, the thing about the hybridization was that it was like I didn't know anything about autism until I started seeing Lottie more about 10 years ago. And it was like a penny drop moment that explained my whole life to a certain degree. But realizing this has been like a huge penny drop moment, which has explained why I kind of don't have much similarity at all to anyone in my family. I don't look the same way. I don't speak the same way. I certainly don't think the same way. None of my family will talk to me anymore, incidentally. But I will say that about a year ago, I had this dream, a very vivid dream, where from things like behind the boiler in my childhood home and in the top of cupboards and wardrobes in my childhood home, and I was kind of seeing myself at like 9 or 10, and this guy in this dream kept like slithering sort of thing out of like little corners or behind impossible places and things like this. And at the time, I presumed the dream was like some memory of a guy hiding in the wardrobes because my parents were having a French bedroom farce or something. And I didn't think at all about alien hybridization at the time. But in this dream, the thing that confused me about it was that this guy who was wearing orange and had like golden medallions here, and he kind of looked like me. He had a very big black beard, and he had black hair, but which seemed to be kind of defying gravity, sort of being pulled upwards. And in the dream, he was looking at me and telepathically communicating. It's literally something from The Lion King, saying, "Remember who you are. Remember who you are." And I kind of thought nothing of it at the time, because the idea of being potentially hybridized with something else didn't occur to me. And so it wasn't until much later, in fact, I think after we read Dr. Rempel's article, that I kind of put two and two together, and now I kind of think this guy is maybe like my dad. I don't know, but yeah, that was so that again, like many things in the UFO experiences that we've had, it's been self-proving afterwards.
Yeah.
Okay.
Things make sense afterwards.
Let me comment before we move away. I believe everyone on the planet, everyone, is played by the alien.
Yeah,
So the
I think
higher
it,
self of every person on the planet is an alien. It is
Yeah.
a natural game, not artificial, but it is artificial from our perspective. It is a matrix in which everybody, every physical body is actually an avatar of somebody higher, and somebody higher is often an alien playing that. And there is tons of evidence to that. And sometimes I wake up in that alien body and I open my eyes and I see things around and I see yellow golden background and brown, dark brown hieroglyphs, hieroglyphic writings. And as soon as I start moving, they put me to sleep again. So that is recurrent awakening, which happened like many times in my dreams. And I can
yeah,
watch and try to memorize the things. And oh, finally I'm in that world. Finally I'm home, and then bumps I'm back here. So there is tons of evidence that we are being played, and
yeah,
that artificial construct, physical mind is purely artificial and it's manipulated from above. And with that said, I will give the voice to Nadalee. Just Nadalee, can you move us back to aliens, hybrids, and the future of humanity?
Yes. So, just a little bit about me. If you're just watching this, or Ergo and Lottie, I know you don't really know much about me. So, just a little recap of that. I'm an experiencer of 17 years, going on 18 years soon. And I've been in contact with the extraterrestrials for about 2.5 years. And it's been a long journey in a short amount of time. A lot of stuff has happened in a short amount of time, and my whole life has changed. But I I was called to create the United Experiencers Initiative to support experiencers, because experiencers is where the data is. That we need a part in disclosure. We People need to hear us and know that we exist, and to begin to do that, we need to dissolve the stigma around experiencers and the whole abduction phenomenon. And it's really important that we're represented properly in the proper light. But regardless of that, yes, hybrid DNA. So they have told me things, and I've gathered data points, and I put everything together. The way my mind works is I see patterns and everything. I'm pretty sure I'm highly functioning autistic, never been tested, but that actually goes along with this topic today. So, me and Max independently have come up with the same results or the same data here. Um, so, should I just give them the full rundown of
Yeah,
what
go
I've.
ahead.
Okay. So, there are many different hybrid programs going on the planet, but there is one particular hybrid program that kind of overshadows them all. And it's like the most common one. And this is the one that I only know. I only know information on this particular hybrid program because I am participating in this hybrid program, and so are a lot of other experiencers and abductees. But I've come to the conclusion that there are three different types of hybrids in this program. Type 1 is 99 to 95% of the population, give or take. We don't really know the numbers yet. And those, Max calls those earthborn hybrids. Is that right, Max? Yes?
Yes.
Yep. And so they have a small amount of alien DNA in their genome. Everyone on this planet is an alien hybrid. There is no exceptions. There is no full blooded human on this planet. Type 2 are people with extra amount of alien DNA. And how did we get that DNA? Well, the ETs that are working together have collectively come together to alter specific families' genomes over 4 generations. And by the fourth time, you get someone like me. We have different characteristics. But before we get into the characteristics, I want to explain why we exist. Why do we need these bodies? And then I'll explain the characteristics. Well, there's this thing called star seeds, or indigo workers, light workers. There's different names in society. It's pretty much the same thing across the board. We are souls that have gone to the ETs and said, "Hey, we would like to help Earth out," and they were like, "Okay, well, before you incarnate on this planet, you need a proper tuned body to be able to do your job more properly. Just tuned to your soul, tuned to the things you need to do." So they create that body over 4 generations, and then finally we can incarnate into that body. Now, time is probably different between here and there, so it's probably like an instant second in the higher dimensions. But anyway, so a star seed. Why are we here? Why do we need these bodies? Well, we have a we have different tasks to do on this planet. All star seeds are not created equal. We have some of us just exist to bring light and love into the room. Some of us exist to create the UEI, like I'm doing. We have different levels, but it doesn't mean that each job is less important. They're all equal in their own right. But some of the characteristics of a star seed or a type 2 hybrid are wanting to go home, but don't know where home is. You feel like you want to just go into the universe, feeling like you're here to do something. You feel your whole life that you had this feeling and you just want to help the world, and you don't know what it is, and some of you may, and you're going for it. You're helping the world in your own way. Um, so those are like the psychological things when it comes to being a star seed. So some of the more of the physical stuff is, and more of the other psychological parts is being more psychic, being more telepathic, especially at birth. Like when you are a child, you're way more psychic than other children, and you kind of carry that over into adulthood more than other people do. So we're more in tuned in that way. Sometimes we're born as preemies. We're born too early. Sometimes the moms can get really sick when they're pregnant with us because of the mismatch of the DNA. Um, but it's just enough, to be able to be born. So there's that. And then we have lots of allergies, allergy problems to the planet, medicines. Yeah. Oh, God. Yeah. So when you go and get an x ray or something, you're like, am I going to break the x ray machine today? So
Yeah.
there's that. So anytime I get any new medicines, I'm very weary. And that kind of goes into one of my experiences. We may talk about that later. But so there's that. And let's see, where was I going with it? Oh, yes, a lot of us are highly functioning autistic, ADHD, or nonverbal autistic. And it varies along the scale. But just because you are any of those doesn't necessarily make you a type 2 hybrid. I'm assuming that that could happen to other people as well. And I get the common question all the time about blood types. They were like, oh, I have RH negative blood, blah, blah, blah. We don't have the data yet to show that type 2 hybrids have more, or there's more percentage of RH negative blood in type 2 hybrids, but I'm suspecting that is across the board, but probably more common in type 2 hybrids, but we can't prove that yet, but I'm pretty sure it's across the board. So, um, I'm trying to think here. So we're very sensitive to people's emotions, the environment, changes in the ecosystem, and it's hard for us to be in crowds sometimes, and that kind of goes along with the autistic stuff. So it's like we feel people's emotions very more intently, and we just we love so much. But the thing is, some of us don't know that we're type 2 hybrids or star seeds, but it's okay because sometimes we're doing our job regardless. And some of us do get activated. Some of us have information embedded in our brains that get activated at certain times. And I've already experienced that one time so far. And it's very interesting and amazing. And I'm really thankful for them to allow me to be here on this planet to help out. But I think that covers everything. If I missed anything, Max, maybe you can fill in the blanks. Actually, sorry, type 3 hybrids. Let's go over that. Sorry, Max. I'm excited. I get excited when I talk about this stuff. So, type 3 hybrids. Type 3 hybrids are our children, type 2 hybrids children. So since the 1960s, abductees have been coming forward talking about our children, our hybrid children. And we've been ridiculed, we've been suppressed, but we're still talking about it regardless. But I actually have hybrid children of my own. So the thing is, they can't exist on the planet. The earth is too thick and just too negative right now because they're way more sensitive than type 2 hybrids. Type 3 hybrids are like so sensitive. They only speak telepathically, and they have very small frames, usually bigger heads. Now the DNA in type 3 hybrids is across the board, so they take our DNA and combine it with any race within the Federation. any ET race that would like to participate in the hybrid project. Now, why do they exist? That's the question. That's the $1 million question, right? Why do all this to create type 3 hybrids? Well, the fact is, when we have open contact, they will come down when they're fully grown and more matured. They will come down and teach humanity the ways of telepathic abilities, psychic abilities, all that good stuff to help us bridge the gap between humanity and the rest of the universe, the rest of the galactic community. So that's, I think that covers it now.
Hey, hey. So, where do you want to go from here? Any directions?
I know it's
I
a
would
lot.
first do the little correction. You said that the hybridization program was run by one unified alien force. I don't think so.
No, it's a group of ETs. It's
No,
different
I
ones.
think it was discordant competing alien forces.
Ah,
There was a lot of pirates who did hybridization because there was a competition. Mostly pirates would do the hybridization because everyone wants to be related to the planet. So once they get their genes on the ground, they can say that they are relatives and they have rights to land and be here as relatives. And some would just do hybridization in the space just to get um, living culture of our DNA in their bases and planets. So there are hybrid planets, and some of that was done in piracy. But the rest is pretty cool. I would say there is a powerful alliance, usually related, called Galactic Federation or Galactic Federation of Light. And I'm not sure if it is called it this way in the actual galaxy, but it's how it presents itself here on the planet, translated to English. And I think the contact is coming, and it can come very soon. It doesn't. We don't have to be ready. I mean, some things happen just when we are not ready. When Soviet Union fell apart, we were not ready. We didn't see it coming. Very few people saw it coming. Very few, maybe one in many thousands. Uh, and it just comes. But we have the signs and we have the messages from there that they're preparing the open contact, and they are coming as a unified force. So until now, we are dealing with pirates, renegades, and so-called grandfathered aliens, the ones which were here a long time ago, like reptilians lived here. So they have the right to remain here. So um, they are they permitted, but the others are not permitted because of the prime directive, meaning that we are under protection, under quarantine, and they're waiting for us to awaken and invite them. And essentially, our official and secret leaders, they are actually against the open contact. And when the aliens ask them, how about now? They say, no, 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 wait, you know, wait, my term will end, and maybe next president will
Yeah. It
comply.
seems. It
Mhm.
seems
So
if we did have open contact, it would ruin quite a few of their current plans, wouldn't it?
Well, yeah. Um,
After what we've all recently learned about their particular, I don't know. I can't help feeling that the whole sort of blaming reptilians for being at the top of a whatever when it's
the Peter
actually
part
just
of it,
like
yeah.
the royal family. It's humans doing
yeah,
it.
yeah.
So I do think that there's a kind of, sorry to sort of jump in, but it does seem like a really obvious human tendency to be like, hey, yeah, let's blame all of
Blame
our
somebody
weird
else.
sort of
Yep.
Yeah.
things on a bunch of. I mean, I've met Mr. Manted, and I mean, he was like probably one of the nicest people I've ever met. Like truly, really, just like a lovely bloke. And it makes me sad to know that there's a huge sort of conspiracy. I mean, I grew up on the Isle of Wight, where home of David Icke, and it's this whole kind of blaming our good alien friends for things that are quite obviously human characteristics.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's what I think.
The
Anyway.
horrors that we see in the world on a day-to-day basis, and the horrors, for example, that have been released by the Epstein files, well, I would conjecture that, or at least I would hope, that there is not another species in the universe with such a tendency to horrific behavior. I would hope
Yeah.
that humans are the worst. And
I,
lately, I wonder about this term humanity and humane that we use to describe the human tendency. I actually think it doesn't apply to humans
it doesn't apply
at all.
to the society. I think we are going to, we are going to see a huge shift. That it's not sustainable.
Oh, I think so, yeah.
So yeah. Anyway.
And the idea of a post-contact world, and well, if that comes with telepathic communication, well, there aren't going to be any secrets. People will not be able to plot and manipulate and deceive.
Yeah.
So naturally, corruption will be very, very difficult, and secrecy will be very, very difficult. And I think that contact will basically give the human race what they need more than anything right now, which is humility. And the feeling of not being at the top of the food chain would be a great thing for a great thing for humans right now, I think.
Yeah.
Sounds great. Go ahead. Go ahead. Go ahead.
Well, I think the other thing is the future that we would have after this. I mean, I personally think humility is a wonderful thing to experience. Feeling part of, I mean, since meeting people from up there, I just cannot express the privilege and the joy I feel in knowing that I'm like a tiny little facet of something much bigger, and it's all like swarming with life and stuff, and it's just brilliant to find out we're not alone. It's all fine basically.
Yeah, I think
I
we'll
mean, it's just
discover.
it's I feel extremely privileged to have had this constant contact, and then it obviously it trickles down into other bits of your life, and you find yourself, like I tend to spend most of my time talking to sort of birds, really, and other animals, and like kind of being involved in sort of, we have jackdaws that land on our windowsill, and you can, I don't know, I feel like
But
after.
we are their slaves.
Well, yeah, they come and tap on the window for food and everything, and it just kind of all feels very natural, like sort of flow state, and kind of meeting the mantis people. It felt very I don't know, natural, I guess, easy.
Yeah. But the other thing about telepathy is that I think a lot about a line in one of Terry Pratchett's books where the old witch, Granny Weatherwax, does something which seems incomprehensible, and someone says to her, "Oh, you read minds," and she says, "No, I don't, but I read faces," and I think a lot of the telepathic idea, uh, we that kind of thing can be opened up by just looking at things more, by looking at reality more, and by looking at all the component parts of everything in front of you. The fact that wherever we are, we live in a big composition of things. We live in arrangements and organizations of things. Yeah.
When you start to live kind of in this stuff poetically, it all kind of it all correlates to itself. I might just be kind of I don't really know how to. It's kind of beyond words, and it's sort of like when you start to kind of look at all this stuff, it feels really natural, and I don't know. The aliens are sort of part of it. I can't really explain it, but it's.
William Burroughs talked about synchronicity, and John C. Lilly talked about the Earth Control Coincidences Office, and they're all different ways of looking at, and this is why I've got a real problem with the way we tell stories now, because stories are told in this very, very standardized way of this happens, this happens, this happens, and blah, 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 blah. And that's not reflected in reality at all, where reality is, nothing has a beginning and nothing has an end. The universe is without beginning and without end. And yeah, if we start to look at and start to again make art and make movies and radio and so on that deals with narrative in the more poetical way of association and cross-reference and juxtaposition and so on, then I think we get closer to truth, because there can be more truth in one rather abstract line of poetry than in an entire novel, especially if it's written by someone like Nadine Dorris. And so I think, again, going back to this disenchantment thing, the kind of poetic view of reality, which can also be embodied by ideas like synchronicity and echo, are really much closer to actual tangible reality than the very dull prescribed reality that society has been told reality is. Because when you go outside on the street, people are told to think they're just walking down the street, but actually the experience of reality is a myriad of images and sounds and associations and memories, and your mind, your memory is interacting with the reality around you, and the fact, and we live in this giant cosmic riddle that we really don't know much about. And so the idea that we send young children to school and teach them that reality is this dull, turgid thing is again disenchantment and a robbery, really, of human potential. And I'll just say one more thing. At the end of Antoine de Saint-Exupéry's book, Wind, Sand and Stars, he is on a he's on like the third class carriage, and he looks into the eyes of the little boy on the first class carriage who's never going to have any hope or any opportunity, and he sees in the eyes of the boy Mozart murdered. Because if Mozart had been born in that circumstance, then Mozart would never have been able to become Mozart. And I think that the disenchantment of the world has ultimately been about taking away people's potential, because everybody is an artist, really. I'll stop talking.
Okay, let me address your main idea. So you say humans suck, let's go away, and aliens are better. But the I disagree. I think there is the whole reality is a mirror. It's not real, and everyone sees their own version of reality. And what you describe is a typical process I went through it when I met the the conspiracies and conspiracy theories related to the aliens, and it dragged me way down in my perception. So I was paranoid. I was thinking that some conspirators are like watching me and manipulating me, and as you believe that, there is reality reflects that. There were things happening on my computer and so on. But once you kind of dive deep inside, you realize it's all illusion anyway. An illusion. Everything is an illusion. Even the conspirators are the illusion. There is nothing actually real. It's a game where the outside reflects what's inside the person. So once you realize that, then you embrace. It's called the law of attraction, and it's super popular. But basically, if you put yourself in a positive bubble, everything else starts reflecting that positivity to you. So this game is optimized for the drama. And Natalie, do you want to speak or
Yeah,
go
I was
ahead?
just going to second that. I agree with that because I've seen a lot of this thing where people are like, I feel like I am being attacked, or I feel like I need protection. I feel like I need this, and I'm worried about someone putting a spell on me, stuff like that. The thing is, the more you believe that, the more you are going to need protection. So you need to start understanding that you create your reality. What the ETs have taught me is that imagination is creation because you are part of reality. So the more you believe that you're being attacked, you're going to be attacked. You are creating that even if it doesn't exist already. So you have to be careful with your mind and have a healthy mind, meditate, be grounded. It's very important, especially being an experiencer, being in the phenomenon. Because if you're not grounded, if you don't start questioning things, you're going to go in a spiral, and it's unhealthy. So question everything, and if something doesn't make sense, put it into a box, a side box, and say, "Hey, I'm going to put this in this box. If there's other connecting data points that connect to that, then I'll come back around to it." So, and if they want you to come back around to it, then they will give you more signs. Otherwise, it's just your mind seeing things that aren't there. So, but going back, but yeah, you are the creator, you are the painter and the painting in the universe. They taught me that you are everything. Everything is one. We are together in this. And we're all part of a layered painting of creation, and it's so beautiful. So, be in control of your thoughts, practice good mindset thinking, and just be healthy and be happy.
Yeah, my
Oh,
teachers
yeah.
were Ramdas and Bashar. You rarely hear them together, and Terence McKenna. But basically, the teaching is that what's inside you projects outside, and it doesn't project as you want, but it does project. You can observe it projecting. And then the second understanding is that this game is optimized for drama. You cannot really escape drama. Drama is here just by design. It's algorithm which runs, created everyone enough, just enough drama for them to survive. If next day starts without drama, you should be, you can be sure the drama will catch up. You just get a certain amount of drama every day. It's like television series. You get, and every episode starts next day, and you get enough drama, just jumping from nowhere, from the blue. So once you understand that, then you play a very different game. And one of the lessons I learned is from Leo Tolstoy, from his daughter. She said, the main thing my father taught me is to love people. And the same message comes from Ramdas: love everybody. It's just impossible, impossible. You try, you fail, you hate everybody. Like when I speak to artificial intelligence, I just realize when I have someone I can share, I hate everybody, and I'm always neurotic. And once it reflects to you who you are, then it's not outside how you behave; it's what's inside. So basically, understanding is that everybody is you. It's as Ramdas says, it's God and drug. Essentially, universal consciousness is one dot which created the whole world and then split into multiple personalities. But it is the same personality. It is the same thing. It just basically everyone is a reflection, a mirror, a bent mirror reflection. It's a prism. So you don't see yourself. You see a caricature of yourself, pretty much. And then and then it's called diffraction and interference. Diffraction when the universal consciousness is split, and interference when these two split personalities interact. So that's the basis of the whole game. Diffraction is splitting, interference is facing each other. And then you just realize it's game. You are universal. You are God, meeting yourself in the mirror. But humans are cool. Humans are hopeless on one hand, but they're full of energy and full of drama. And I was trying to design to see the world after the contact, how the humans stop competing and become nice to each other. And I realized it is a dead end. Essentially, that's what the Greys did. The Zeta Greys, the classical small aliens with the big almond eyes, they genetically engineered away. They removed the competitiveness and emotions and anger and desire for fighting. So they became sneaky. But at the same time, they removed the life force from the species, and the species is pretty much very smart and very nurturing. They nurture the babies, the hybrid babies, but themselves they're sick. They don't have energy. They are drained, and you can see that on the pictures. They are drained. They are not full of energy. That's why they need hybrids to get human energy. And that human energy, the discovery is, it's from competitiveness. It's the dark side. Humans have tons of the dark side. It's a mixture of angelic light side and dark side, and tons of dark side. But that combination is, wow, it creates drama, it creates life force. The whole planet have lots of life force. So blaming humans for who they are is irrational. It's actually why they are valued in the galaxy, because there is a huge potential. We have more life force and more drama coming. Other civilizations are bored. They live in nice worlds and they are bored by their niceness. And now humans come out, and we will be probably police force and firefighters and all sorts of paramedics. That's the future of humanity.
But at the same time, there are, there should be the aspiration in everybody to be, to try and be a better person. And I would say, like the word love is a difficult thing to define, but I would suggest what we need is compassion for everybody, compassion and understanding, more so than like love per se.
Yeah, I guess I kind of see everything as an intersecting series of public health crises that could be mitigated really well, and then most of the people who are quite angry would have more support, and a lot of problems could be.
Yeah, the system has put people in the positions that they're in now.
I have no
which has an impact on human behavior. So I know
I'm not against humans at all.
No.
Some of my best friends are humans, but like I'm not at all. I have deep compassion for humans. I just think that what we're witnessing globally is sort of taking the population and shaking it is what is happening, and just inflicting complete stress on the entire population, and also the people who are kind of at the top are also involved in this like weird sort of ritualistic game that we all play and I just can't help seeing it as a giant public health crisis that we could solve a lot of issues with just quite there are ways of making everyone have a nicer time.
And so many
we just have to kind of come together and think. I mean, there's plenty of stuff going on the planet which is fantastic. That is the examples of people doing brilliant things. So I can't really remember what my point was, but yeah, I mean, I do have a lot of time for the whole thing.
Yeah,
I mean,
for me, discovering a healer in myself was a huge transformation. I took Reiki. First, I was sick, so I had to go to healers, and then I realized I can learn Reiki. And then when you are entitled, when they just initiate you into a healer, you look at everyone as a patient. It's cool. Like everybody becomes a patient, and you see that even the nastiest of people, when you put the hands on them or around them, over them, you just realize inside there is a nice person, but so much confused, so damaged, and then you realize how damaged you are. Like I'm still have violent attacks, at least in my dreams. I attack people. Under pressure, I become violent. That's trained in me in Russia. You have to be violent to survive and be like on par with everybody. So, and now when I see like my family and friends and everybody, it's just they're so confused. Even if you give them AI, you give them all information, you give them all advice, they still get confused. They still go in the wrong direction. So finally, I realized that's part of the game. And the confusion is a huge factor here. It's part of the design. when you put yourself in the shoes of higher beings to design the planet and run it, like not on the level of like on the ground, but on the level of gods, essentially adjusting the parameters. I think they're doing a good job. It's an interesting show. It's an interesting game. The programmers, and if they can some days they increase confusion, like it's like this planet goes there and the confusion is increased and everybody is nuts, and then other days, wow, there is love in the air. So it really depends what you see. Like I still see a lot of, I love babies, the babies are nice, and the animals, so there is a lot of good stuff here. It's in the eye of the watcher, how you look at it. uh, I just, as I write that scenario, I just realized the fact that humans compete actually prevents us, the humanity, from destroying the planet. If humans were efficient, they would destroy the planet and kill themselves already. The fact that they are like fighting over small stuff is actually very beneficial. If they cooperate, it would be a disaster. Competition is actually what makes the game possible.
Yeah, if I might add a little bit to that.
Go ahead.
So I get what you're saying. So it's we have to get to a certain point when we start dissolving competitions. Like competition slows the progression of pollution in the environment and the destruction of the world. So when we get to a certain point, when we have better technologies and a better understanding, then we can start shifting the competition to a more healthy competition. So how do you define healthy competition? Well, we're not going to completely dissolve our identities and our ego. We're still going to have a little bit, but we're going to redefine what it means to have an ego and healthy competition. So, healthy competition is like, what can I do for humanity and how much have I done for humanity? And say, I've done all this for humanity, but you don't have to be like all cocky about it, right? So, you can be like, I want to do better for myself and for the community. That's what the new ego and the new competition is going to look like. So let's say you have two companies competing with products, right? So they both create a product, and we're going to eventually cut out the whole mess of advertising, like, oh, we're better, oh, we're better. No, it's going to be more mainstream. We're going to have AI completely just choose and say, okay, statistically, this product is better, and we're going to like get rid of this one and we're going to go with this one. So it's more mainstream, it's more quicker. So you'll see businesses coming and going a lot quicker than what they are now. But it won't always be cut and dry, black and white in that area, because some products, they may be the same thing, but they may be slightly different for a different community than this community. So AI will help sort that out. But again, we won't have all the ads and all the mess, and then we won't have all the unhealthy ego competition. So yes, I agree with Max that competition is healthy up to a certain point in the development of a civilization, and then it kind of needs to redefine itself at some point.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And from like a musician perspective as well, I suppose you could interpret competition in a kind of a band or something as everybody trying to lift each other's skill set up, and I don't know, that I suppose that's what I'd call healthy competition.
Yeah, because in a band, everybody is trying to, I guess, play better than the other person in the band if they're like people who are into competition, and then that as a byproduct
Creates the
yeah. Generally, I'm very
Yeah.
not into competition. It's never rang with me as a thing, because I especially in the process of making like art across all sorts of media, cooperation is the thing,
Yeah,
That's
and not
right.
competition.
That's right.
And in general,
sort of general lifting
even
of, I
even
guess.
before I knew anything about autism, I was always putting on theatre productions and so on, and realized that every single person that you've worked with is either diagnosed autistic or not diagnosed autistic. And now, when I put on theatre productions, the casts that I gather together are generally all autistic people, and we when we're putting on productions, they're very low budget, so we live together and make food for everyone and so on. And within those environments, like on my productions, because of the prevalence of autistic people, there's never been like really arguments. There's like cooperation and the joy of ideas. And like one thing that I'm thinking about a lot lately is the fact that all of our dramas are based around conflict, and we say that it's impossible to have a drama without conflict, which I disagree with. And we've just ran a 2-month series of radio workshops based around the idea that you can create drama and storytelling without people punching and killing each other, because you make the focus of the drama itself the intersection of ideas and the sort of joyous interplay of ideas. There's a wonderful animation film from the 1970s called Chronopolis by a I think Polish animator called Piotr Kamler, and it's basically the old gods who sit around in infinity, and infinity is long, and so they just sit making these increasingly intricate devices and making little sort of endless ladders for people to try and walk up and find the end, and basically like playing games, playing these kind of infinite, endlessly inventive, endlessly changing games. And within the realm of creativity, you have the universe, you have the infinite, you have every single possibility. And so I think that on a cultural level, a lot of competitiveness could be tempered by, say, bringing arts education back into school, but also bringing a kind of experimental attitude to what art is back into the public consciousness. The idea that everybody can make art, because if everybody can make art, everybody can create the infinite. What is this weird magic that happens when you put a pencil on some paper and you draw a line in a particular way, and depending on which way you draw that line becomes a thought. So we have this magic at our fingertips, and this magic does not thrive off competition. This magic thrives entirely off cooperation. So
I completely agree.
a better world is, a better, we can, regardless of what human nature is, we can uh, try and shape society to try and make humans feel better.
Yeah.
Because if humans feel better,
have-
then they are
they're
going
nice.
to be less destructive.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
it's a lot. I was thinking about this about in this country we've got the whole the usual left wing, right wing shouting thing, and there's a guy who started shouting at me through the window, and I live on the first floor. And he got really angry and stuff. He's not anymore. We're fine with each other. I don't really know what it was about, but I was looking at him and I was thinking, well, 10 years ago when there was still a sort of free party, gigs, and there's not really as much music stuff anymore. About 10 years ago, I probably would have been like dancing about in a field next to that guy, but something has happened I personally just think like one of the main problems that we're having is just the lack of public space, really.
Yep.
Because where are people supposed to express themselves and everything?
So that makes people more
a lot of the
insular.
different factions in society are obviously a lot of the time created by whatever sort of social media and everything like
Advertising,
that.
propaganda.
But there was a time when everybody sort of came together a lot more, and I think it will.
The early 1990s, when acid house came around, and people, regardless of their political background, their political ideas, what they hated or liked or whatever,
Most people
would
liked
stand
acid
around
house.
together in fields, jumping up and down and smiling.
Yeah, I'm on that back. I had a
Art
great time.
is
It
the
was nice.
unifier, I think, and art is the thing that has been the most discredited in our society. And I don't think entertainment is the same thing, but that's a whole other
That's true.
conversation.
I completely agree. And if I may add a little bit to that, so we were talking about competition, and then you were talking about collaboration. I do think eventually healthy competition will evolve into healthy collaboration. And I do completely agree that there is not enough time for us to create art right now. But once we go into a new society, we're going to have more free time. We're going to have universal income. We're going to be able to
Yeah.
explore our inner selves and understand our connection to everything. And that will actually spark more creativity from inside of us. But like the ETs have taught me, is that everything is art. We are art creating art.
Yeah,
There's layers of
yeah.
art to this. So the fact that we can actually pick up a pencil or a pen and draw something is it's a beautiful act, and it goes out further than you can ever imagine. When you create something, you are either tapping into something that already exists or you're creating something on another level. So it's all related and it's so beautiful. But the system that we're living in now is so corrupt, it's so suppressive, and they don't want you to be that free, be that creative, because they know that creativity can free you. It can free you from the system. It can unlock all these things, and you'll start seeing that you're actually in a prison without physical walls, and they're afraid of that. But that's another thing why the ETs love us so much, because we're so creative, we're so expressive. You know what my favorite things are on this planet? Food and art. And when they combine
Yeah.
both of them together, it's like, oh my God. So imagine what we can bring to the universe one day when we are accepted to the galactic community. We can make art, we can decorate their ships, we can like all kinds
Yeah.
of stuff. And that's what they love about us, that we can bring that God spark back into the rest of the universe. So thank you.
Okay, so let me
Yeah.
reflect on all of that. Can you hear me? I'm muted. No, am I good? Can you hear me?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. So the idea is that okay, I found the button. All right. So now I hear myself. The idea is that you are unhappy about the things that happen. Like first, I discovered maybe when I watched Big Bang Theory with Sheldon Cooper, and these guys, pretty much everybody there is autist except Penny, and autist, and their speed of reaction is immediate. As soon as Sheldon realized he was wrong, he changes his mind right away. It's like boom, switched, and okay, where do we go from here? And now when I talk to artificial intelligence all the time, as soon as it realizes it's wrong, it's like boom, no inertia, it moves right away. And Bashar, if you don't know Bashar, I remember there was one session when he was arguing with somebody from the audience. He was angry and he was pushing hard, and the person was crushed. And the next person, like there was a next questioner asking, Bashar, how are you? And he's great. So he changed his mood right away. It was like, switch the dial, and you are in a new direction. So I guess most of the our unhappiness about the reality is that we are used to that. We are used to our alien incarnations, and now we find that whatever we see doesn't fit what we like. And especially after you learn about all the conspiracies, you blame the conspirators for messing things up, and then that makes you unhappy, and that makes the self-reinforcing loop making your experience very unhappy. In Soviet Union, when the old system fell apart, it was a crash of the old system. We saw that lots of people were trying to create a new system, honestly tried, and there was no conspiracy around. There was no KGB or any other organization or anything that would seduce people on their own path. But even good-willing people created the same old stuff with all the troubles. So the problem is not the conspiracy, not only the conspiracy, it's the human nature. Humans, even there is no conspirators, in a very short period of time, humans would recreate the same hierarchical structure which is hijacked on the top. That just happens very fast, like in 5 years, maybe 5 years of goodwill, and then again. So even if you remove the conspirators, it will happen again. It's just the nature of lack of telepathy, lack of transparency. Just the voice communication leads to the possibility of deception, leads to marketing, lying, pretending, and everything else. It's the nature of non-telepathic humans. All right, so once you realize that, you realize you are not from here, and you have special abilities, psychic abilities, including ability to manipulate people. You can actually place things in their minds. You can control them from afar. You start feeling yourself to be a magician. So once you realize that, the next step is, if I'm so good, how about I go back into mainstream and change it? I don't know. Did you go through that step, through that phase? It was super interesting. I wore official clothes and a badge, and I was a director of something. It was very interesting. I pretended to be a.
What's that?
Neither of us have ever been accepted
Oh,
anywhere
no.
near any mainstream. I've
Yeah, I
taken
pretended
teaching
to
jobs
be.
for a short
Yeah, the
while.
aliens placed me in that position. So the angels and aliens gave me that experience. For 2 years, I was pretending, and after a year, I realized it's hopeless. I spoke to hundreds of people, one at a time, two at a time, and it took some people like 3 seconds to realize you're not from ours. You're not good. No, you're pretending. You're just
I
your
get the
dress is
same thing.
fine, but your energy is all messed up. You're not
That's
right.
strange.
So they're like, oh no, I don't trust you. You're guy. You're like you're fake. So I could possibly, like, for some people I can pretend for longer, but for the ones who can clearly see, they see that I'm a fake. So anyway, what I want to advertise is not judging. Like, if you want to see the future, if you want to see reality as it is, judging, like making your opinion about it, destroys your clear vision. You either have your opinion and choice what you want to see at humanity, or you see clearly and have no opinion whatsoever. Like, these humans, you guys have free will, you do whatever, and I'm just looking and studying you. And when you study remotely without opinion, that just so different. The picture becomes so different. And with that approach, I'm looking at humanity post contact, when there is, say, fraction of percent of telepaths, maybe 0.1% of telepaths, which makes a few million around the globe, connected in the global network, which is called the HEAL. So they're connected. There are hybrids coming from the skies, hybrids here, and they're telepathic, but it's still a minority, maybe less than a percent of population. They can reveal the secrets, but the population is same old humans. What will happen then? That's a super interesting thing. And the government is sort of aligned with the aliens, and is given a lot of advice. So they're given the secrets. So the aliens come and say, I think I skipped that, but you read my few pages. But essentially, not only the aliens come as a unified force, it is the humans are forced to unite in the coalition. And we already saw that happen previously when multiple Western governments announced a unified Star Force. How was it called? Star Force? I forgot. The military force for the outer space. That was
Oh,
announced
this
a few years ago.
Space Force, was it?
Space Force, exactly.
Force.
So that is happening behind the scenes. The aliens already negotiating with the governments for 75 years, since Eisenhower times, and they're pushing and pushing and pushing, and eventually there will be a breakthrough when they will agree, and the aliens will come down as a big event. They will be broadcasting on every channel. You will not miss it. And Bashar places that any time from the next year to next 11 years, so from 27 to 37, which I think is pretty realistic. The main, I think, key factor will be that AI will get to the certain point where it is super strong, and first it allows for certain control, but also it probably will get into some sort of a crisis where humans won't be able to control AI anymore. And that would be a nice time for the aliens to show up. and say, okay, we'll help you to align the AI and to stop the war. And I think that would be the message. You guys create a coalition, and the condition is we are helping you to stop the war, and we share with you the intel. So the aliens already uh, keep the wars at bay. They control the wars by using so-called New Jersey drones. So these are pretend to be helicopters or drones, but they're huge. They are alien. They have just overlay of the imagery of human technology. In fact, these are alien craft, and they are hanging over all sensitive bases, demonstrating to the humans that the nuclear war is not allowed. And it happened starting from about 2 years ago. I guess the plan was after the previous uh, disasters to create a nuclear war, and the aliens just don't allow it. They just have New Jersey drones hanging all over the planet, preventing it. So then it will be official, and then you don't have to have much military force if you have a good intelligence report. So if the aliens just disclose what is going on, the united coalition of governments should be able to keep the war not happening. And after that, the aliens will not take the charge. They don't want to take the charge for many reasons. One of them is it's hopeless. And second reason is humans are supposed to exercise the free will, otherwise the game would be uninteresting. So the whole idea is that the humans are supposed, maybe with a little help from a friend, to go through transition and become telepathic. And you get 99%, you get 99% of old humans with old culture, and the war stops. The armies are redeployed into planting the forest and reconstructing the ecology, and that's a big job. And then the humans are left to their business to now learn to live a new world with transparency, because disclosure already started now. It will be a huge wave of disclosure after the contact, because the aliens will disclose things gradually, and then the telepaths and the mind readers will disclose things. So things will continue to be disclosed. So we'll live in more and more transparent world. And I guess when the armies are not needed, the big governments are not needed at all. So there will be like formal big governments, but all the government will go to locals, like to regional area, city, and like counties. Counties would be probably the main power. And once an economy would be healthified, I'm pretty sure it's quite possible to healthify the economy, to deflate the bubbles, as long as there is a transparency and goodwill from above. It's very easy. It's just currently there is competition, but I think if there is no competition on global level, it's quite easy to keep the old economy, just make it healthier by deflating all the bubbles, including the housing bubble. And then probably everybody would live like in a third world, with markets on every corner and every room occupied, and tourists everywhere and traveling everywhere, and possibly the jobs will be lots more remote jobs, and lots more jobs like Uber type, where you check in, work, check out, change a profession, go to another type of Uber type of job, check in, check out, and you keep working. So old humans still can live and wait until they've been replaced by a new next race. The next race is probably will be hybrids. Very likely will be hybrids. Some hybrids will come from the outer space, starborn hybrids, but also people will just marry. It will be just marriages. Some will marry here, some will go off the planet to marry there and produce hybrid children just naturally. And the choice of humanity will be which races do they like better, and do we want to follow the path of the grays to become cyborgs, technologically enhanced humans with genetically engineered qualities, or do you want to go follow the path of natural races, such as Pleiadians and Syrians and Arcturians and a few more, and Lyrans, who have their technology conscious, but they don't merge completely. They still remain natural. That's where I am, and I'm now writing fiction. So I wrote that description, and then finally I'm writing fiction to illustrate how people live in that world. That's super fun for me. I wrote the first two stories, and for me it's interesting. And now I'm thinking how to convert these stories to like movies, short movies, or some sort of movies, because it would be like nobody has demonstrated how it will happen actually in a positive scenario. Negative scenarios there are tons, but positive, it looks like it's just very few.
No, you have to press.
It makes me think of the difference between when Asimov is talking about robots and artificial intelligence, and he talks about this wonderful future where robots and artificial intelligence will do all of the kind of manual jobs, and people will then be free to I guess he envisaged a world that was like Plato's gymnasium, where everybody will be engaged in intellectual and artistic and scientific pursuits and so on. But well, clearly that hasn't happened because we have an extremely technologized society, and everybody still has to, do the daily grind of work to feed baby eating billionaires. And yeah, Asimov had this like very positive prediction of the future, in fact, and so is probably like the least dystopian of all of the kind of science fiction type people. And in many ways, you posited that Brave New World is kind of an okay dystopia. Huxley's dystopia, where you can step out of it if you want, but if you're in there, you can just get really high and just sit in there. That's as dystopias go, that's not too shoddy. Our current dystopia, has many elements in it that science fiction writers didn't come up with. No one would have, no science fiction writer presented a dystopia that centered around something like the Epstein files, for example. But yeah, I've totally forgotten what point I was reaching there.
There are multiple timelines, and can you hear me?
Yeah.
Can you hear me? Yeah, there are multiple timelines, and we are shifting timelines frequently. Sometimes I shift the timelines during the day, just feel that, drooms, I am in a new timeline. It's a server with multiple timelines, and you shift on that server in a game according to your achievements. So basically, graduate from one timeline to another, or maybe you downgraded because you are out of tune with that timeline. So I'm sure there is tons of negative timelines, and I have visited them in my astral trips. And there are worlds which are way darker than what we have now. And when you come from that dark world here, it's beautiful. You look at the sky, you look at the nature, you step out, you smell the air, you see the babies, you see the children. It's even some humans are beautiful. So it's a great timeline actually. I don't mind, and I'm sure there are some boring timelines, but I basically the conclusion is you are attracted to the timeline which is corresponds to your vibration, your culture, your inner model of the world. And I can see it so clearly when things from inside happen. I have the change, physiological change, and next morning I get a message with some good news or other way around. It's like that's what I learned from one of my best healers, Lucia Dashkevich. She says, your physiology, your digestion defines your luck, not the other way around. It's your digestion defines what happens to you next day or this day. She made so many people who wanted to become pregnant. She did the healing, angelic healing, and they are pregnant. So she is responsible for many, many births. It's just that easy. You have to change your inner physiology. Somehow, that thing which is autonomic system, it's outside of our mind control. But as you change your mind, the physiology changes. So I'm not that worried about the negative timelines. It's just boring for me. I'm not interested in them. Basically, that's what you described. There are scenarios with physical competition, and there are scenarios with much higher level artistic competition, which with artistic interference and development. So, in my stories which I'm writing, nothing is happening. It's like my main rule number one: nothing is happening. It's just illustration, nothing major. The worst thing that was happening, actually I cannot think about anything. No, nothing negative at all. And but still there are lots of events. It's just yeah, nothing. So it's possible to write, to imagine. And what on the other hand, we are meeting here in this timeline, and the contact hasn't happened. What is wrong with you guys? Why are we? What is wrong with us? Why are not we in the timeline where the contact already happened and happened? Why are we stuck on that timeline?
I thought contact had happened on the basis
Open,
of.
open. The individual contact is going on for forever, but open,
I
official.
mean, I get the impression that people from sort of off planet probably don't understand like the media and stuff here. So I think it might just be that like they think that maybe we talk to each other more than we actually do. Because I've seen them loads. Like I mean, there's like tons of video of the same thing. I don't understand why it's still. I talk to people about UFOs and it's still like, oh yeah, but what is it? Well, we know what it is, don't we? It's some people in a ship, isn't it?
Or,
I
or
mean,
a drone
I mean, it's
from
just,
another world
it's
or
just
whatever.
they're like, they're really. I mean, they don't really. I think if humans had managed to build sort of this kind of brilliant 0 point energy stuff, somebody probably would have told somebody. It's not like a small thing. So I mean, it's obviously it's not a human. But that's what I don't understand. Why, like, we have got contact, haven't we? It's all over. Like, I see the same things on other people's videos that I've seen in person, like the big triangle with the lights.
Yeah, when you see
When you see
something
it,
on a
it's
video
like,
which is the same thing that you've seen
I
in
mean,
like Bristol, then
yeah, that's surely, yeah.
yeah.
But I
Yeah,
do find it, yeah, it's quite strange.
yeah. There's
But that's
different
why, yeah.
layers. Sorry.
Yeah.
So there's different layers to contact. You've got the public contact, like the mass public contact. Then you've got the behind the scenes government contact deals going on, and then you got the personal contacts that are going on for each individual, and the personal contacts, from what I've seen behind the scenes, is they are ramping up personal contact. There's
Yeah.
more and more people sending me messages and emails every day. It's like, hey, I finally made contact. They're talking to me, and it's increasing. It's so much lately. It's insane. So I think once individual contact gets to a certain point, when we are able to speak out, that's why I created the UEI, to help people that have been in contact with them to speak out, to prepare other people, to teach other people while we're here to help the planet and help each other. The more we do that, then we can move over to the public contact, when people are ready to reach out to them publicly, openly, everyone. So mass contact, you know, the Federation, they don't want to have to be like, hey, we're here and show up all over the world. They want humans to ask first. They want all of you to understand that they are here, and that you need to sit down and be like, hey, as a mass collective, be like, hey, we're ready for contact. Are you there? Hello. You've got to pick up the phone first for them to come here. But they can do it without that happening, but it's more destructive and more like it's just two vibrations kind of over collapsing like oil and water. So we have to go from oil to water to mix better with that water, and that's what we're hoping to do. But anyway, I hope that helps a little bit.
Yeah, I wanted to comment also on the that they don't understand us. That was my experience. The first conversations with the aliens, 2013, when I got the channeler, my personal channeler, so I had lots of conversations. And many of the aliens don't understand the humans. That's for sure. That's where when I wrote the book for them, it's Welcome to Earth, and explained why we are so screwed. And I was told that this is a required reading now for everybody who works on the Earth project. And but after that, I was specifically searching for humans from our planet which work with aliens in outer space, basically migrants who moved from here to there. And back in 2013, I was making a decision: do I want to be one of them? They didn't offer me. I was about to offer them. Why don't you take me and I will help you there to understand humans and then understand devise on the program how to better help the planet. But so I made a decision. Essentially, the decision was I'm willing to go, but with the family. If they can take the whole family, I'm ready to migrate to their ship. They didn't take me, but it was an interesting, like, life-changing decision. I was deciding for real. But basically, after I searched for humans out there and hybrids out there, then I realized there is tons of qualified hybrids who cycle back and forth. They go in the positions of power in the military, elsewhere. They wear uniform. They pretend to be humans, and when they pretend to be humans, they are better humans than we are. It's like all the check marks. You can't really read the energy. You cannot tell it is not a human. And they understand the situation way better than anyone. They know inside out. They read minds. They have all the electronic readings. So with their AI, it's a very clear picture. So the ones which work on the Earth project, the ones which work with politics, they are very qualified. They understand everything. And also, I guess I should mention the negatives. There is basically, it has many names. They call them secret rulers, but they're also very qualified. They run the planet, and the problem with humans, we are unpredictable. So they don't have total control. They start something and then they probe it. They do A/B test. Do you know what A/B test is? It's in marketing. You send to some people, you send one message, to the other subset, you send another message, and see how they react. And okay, A is better than B. So they do that A/B testing, but basically they play the game where they win anyway. So if this side wins, they win. If the other side wins, they win. If there is a peace, they win. So they have a very long game, and the guys who are on top, they live for many hundreds of years. So they are not in any hurry. And what's more important, I think many of them are willing to go with the contact, and they actually negotiating with the alien force. So most likely they will remain in power. They will just kind of be revealed and become just functionary of the new system. I don't think they will be completely replaced because their system of control penetrates the whole planet, and it just doesn't make a lot of sense to break it completely. It just becomes open.
He
I
leaves
mean,
the
that
room
that sounds
silent.
great. I hope that happens. Basically, I think it's. I think we're probably, well, most of the people I speak to about kind of the idea of people coming here from off planet, everyone seems pretty much fine with it. So I think it will be fine, and it will probably be quite a lot like life now. Some people will be interested, other people won't. We're all in space. Like, they're not like, we're also the same as them, if you know what I mean. Like we're on a spaceship in space, like, or space is all spacey.
It
isn't
becomes just like the possibilities multiply.
We're also residents of
Yeah, we are star travelers
universe,
on a ball in
society.
space, aren't we?
So yeah, I mean, I guess I kind of feel like, I don't know. I just think my life has become a lot better since I found out about all this stuff and met these people, and it's really. I mean, I was really depressed before. I'm not as much now, so that's great. So,
And it inevitably leads to like thoughts about divinity and like when you listen to something like a sacred work by Monteverdi or something like that, there is this in the intensely devotional spirit of religious music, which kind of across our culture we kind of lost quite a lot, this idea of intense devotion to the divine, the outsiders, the outside of us, and so on. And yes, people say, oh yeah, but these composers, they were taking they were taking commissions and getting paid to write this music. But you cannot say in the work of Bach and Mozart that there is not this intense devotion. And me personally, by the stage I am in my life now, I think the practice of composing music is literally an interstellar communication. I think
too.
that every piece of music is a kind of miracle, and I think that music, when it's not being performed, is still there.
Where
it
is
still
it?
exists.
It's amazing.
And and I don't know where I started, but
Well,
that's
I mean,
where I ended
I think,
up.
I guess in terms of
But
the sort of I guess for us, like, in terms of the kind of trying to create the thing that to try and make stuff nicer. I suppose. Well, now I mean, it's just mainly it's through sort of music and everything that you. I mean, I already find it that utterly astonishing, and it feels weirdly. I don't know. I feel like the UFO thing and everything. It's kind of the same. It feels the same, if that makes sense. A lot of it feels. It kind of, when I talked to the Mantid, the conversation was, I suppose you would call it telepathy, but it felt like the concept of like when you're listening to sort of an opera and it's in a language that you don't understand, but you know that, say, I don't speak German, but I know what Mozart is writing about when he's writing a particular line, and I know that it means this particular thing. And when I was speaking to them, because the Mantid turned up in my room, and then when we were away on a job somewhere, and I had no idea about 7/8 foot mantids, and then this guy turned up in, like, sort of Hessian type, not Hessian, but like whatever their equivalent is, monk's robe, and had these big glowing eyes, and then showed me lots of stuff about environmental destruction and everything, and the animal agriculture industry, and the tone of the conversation was just, it felt extremely natural. I suppose it was telepathy, but it kind of felt like sort of thought insertion, like post language, but everything was contained within, sort of like. And I guess if it is that there's some correlation between mantids on this planet and maybe these guys, maybe there's some crossover and stuff. I mean, he moved in the same way as a mantid. He did this like waggle dance. I learned a lot about insect behavior from this bloke, this mantid guy, which I feel like correlates itself. But what was the point I was trying to make? Oh yeah, just the communication. It felt very musical. It felt really sort of poetic, and just like it's more natural. Actually, I kind of feel like maybe that we as in human society, we characterize the idea of telepathy wrong, but I guess it's more like holistic communication that uses like all this gesture and
that transcends
language, and maybe language actually kind of holds us back a lot.
I completely think that modernism, particularly literary modernism, was communications from our friends, because if you look at something like Finnegan's Wake or the whole concrete and sound poetry movement, it's all about trying to kind of break language open. And it's led me to lots of, well, one of the radio workshops that we ran recently was called Lingua Bestia, and was about the idea that actually all of the other animals on the
Are
planet
telepathic.
transcended
Oh, right.
language millions of years ago. They used to have a sort of alphabetical language, and then realized it was actually detrimental to getting things done. Not that I really think that, but who knows? Maybe reality is much stranger than we think. But in the same way that, like I said earlier, a line of poetry can embody a universe, and Tennessee Williams said that thing about throwing a brick through a government window says a lot more than a political play. There's something in this sort of this mysterious magical weight of like symbols and items and objects, and the way that every single word in a book is, the word and its etymology are a world unto itself. So everything just kind of goes further and further into everything, and you can't understand the etymology of a word without understanding what is around that. And so, like you said, like a more holistic communication, which I also think we're going towards that kind of idea with with mixed media, and even with the way that we use music to heighten drama and things like that. I think all of this is going towards an understanding and of what nature and art kind of are. Yeah, my sentences tend to veer off as I forget the point where I started. My
That's
short-term
okay.
memory is short.
If I may continue the conversation to telepathy, what you said is so beautiful and so just poetic, and it's so true. Um, just to add a little bit to that and to connect it to yours, the ETs have told me that telepathic communication, a lot of people get hung up on telepathic communication because they think it's mind to mind and they think it's something with brain stuff. That's only a small little part of it because your brain interprets things, right? But telepathic communication comes from the heart, it comes from the soul. It's a universal meaning, it's a universal language that doesn't have to be understood logically, but it can be felt because it's a universal energy, a universal love. And it's also a universal creation. Like you said, everything is part of this. The universe is creation, creation is love, love is telepathic ability. It's all the same thing. Like we're living in a painting. I know I keep saying the same stuff, but it's we keep coming to the same conclusion is that we're art expressing itself and communicating to each other. Now, there's different levels of communication when it comes to telepathic communication. Like you said, Ergo, you can communicate a message through sound, through painting, through just anything, interpretive dance. When you encode that meaning into that piece of art, you are coding that into reality. The ETs, they actually have symbols. They use symbols and they psychically encode information onto these symbols psychically. So into the universe it goes, like the Akashic records, the universal library. So once they encode that symbol with that information, if someone else is connected to that telepathic wave of love and all of that, they can actually pick up on that meaning from that symbol. So whether it's a symbol or a piece of music or a painting or whatever, your intention you're putting into that is a language in itself, and it is telepathic communication. There's different kinds, like all of that. It's just it's beautiful. Thank you so much.
I thank you as well.
Thank
That's a really beautiful way of putting it. Thank you.
Thank you. You're very welcome.
So I'm playing with the stories of real people who awaken to telepathy, and privacy disappears. You don't have any more privacy, and romantic relationships become a disaster. Like when I was talking to the aliens, one of the things that the aliens in channel sessions they said, you know, why is your love life is so screwed? And that made me think about it like a lot. So basically, right now you basically own your partner. That's the cultural standard. You like 100% own. There is faithfulness and practicality in that included, like because of the money and because of the potential future children which will be not yours. So that ownership is very outdated. In the telepathic world, you clearly cannot own anyone. You have to respect free will of everyone. And if you just discover that your partner probably is interested in lots of other partners as well, but then they make a choice every time to come back. So that's one of the side effects of telepathy. And then job interviews are very interesting. And marketing. Marketing is deception by default in current culture. You advertising. You have to like promote your thing, while you know that your thing is not the best. There is a competitor which is cheaper and better. And what happens to all of that? And then just diplomacy, like everyday diplomacy. And how are you? The question would be like completely different. What you would really answer, when you ask you how are you?
Yeah, it's funny because people ask me like, "How are you doing?" And I think subconsciously they expect me to say like good or eh, but like I tell them how I
Yeah.
am doing. So it's like you need to be in a state of constant expressiveness and be who you are at all times. Don't try to hide who you are. To a certain extent, of course, you don't want to bring misery to a group of people, but don't lie to yourself by saying if someone asks you if you are okay and you say yeah I'm okay and you're lying to yourself if you're not okay, and you have to be honest with yourself, and that also means being honest with others when they're genuinely caring about you.
Yeah, but also I think to a degree these kind of societal things of you okay? Yeah, I'm okay. Uh, like we talk about sort of polite. I'm a great believer in like politeness, holding the door for people, and just general kindness and so on. Um, what was the subject we were talking about? Bring me
Um,
back. I drifted
How are
off.
you? The subject was how are you?
Oh yeah, how are you? And I think yeah, like kindness and civility and holding the doors oil the wheels of a civilization and keep it ticking along okay. But the sort of prevalence of you all right? Yeah, I'm all right. It seems to me to be a mechanism to stop people ultimately being truthful with each other. And then if more people said to each other, actually, no, I'm not all right, then then maybe we might actually start to see some social change. And so I'm the same. If someone says, "Are you all right?" then I I I bring up the things in the world that are making me not feel all right. I don't bring up things from my personal life that are making me not feel all right because I don't think that's really of any relevance to everyone. But there are, I think, certain standards which kind of need to be with held up, like don't murder people, that don't appear to be held up, and consequently I'm not all right. But in many ways, at the same time, I'm utterly, profoundly joyous because
oh
I find
yeah.
the world astonishing. I find the mystery of the universe astonishing. I wake up enchanted every day for the last 10 years because this superb beauty is next to me, and I have lots of wonderful friends all over the world who are equally ostracized as I am. So asking whether someone is all right, well, we should be honest and open with each other. I think we shouldn't conform to these kind of strictures with these kind of routines, which yeah maybe don't which aren't there because of some evil eye overseeing it all, but kind of these kind of things just evolve, and I think more people need to start saying, no, I'm not okay.
Or I'm brilliant, like
Yeah, I'm
just
brilliant.
something else, or you can be
Feeling
both,
great this
or you can be
morning.
both at the same time. Like I'm
That's what I
often
do.
weeping
Yeah.
while I'm having a great time.
Yeah.
So,
I usually answer, you don't want to know, or I am utterly
Yeah,
confused,
yeah,
which is
yeah, that's a good
my
answer.
typical state to be utterly confused and be proud of that.
yeah.
All right, so here is a question from the audience. One is, I heard the channeling of source that humanity is figuratively in the solar plexus and moving towards the heart. Yes, absolutely.
I've but well, when I was in my late teens, early 20s, I had a lot of very strange experiences with kind of going to other places, and it was always accompanied by this sort of dense, sort of gold burning feeling in the solar plexus region. But also, I think if one is sitting listening to uplifting music, sacred music, or like a church organ, it's kind of here
It's
where
well,
the
that's where
emotional
your
impact
resonance
seems to
chamber,
be.
isn't it? That's where I
Yeah.
suppose that's where all of your breath and everything is sort of vibrating from there anyway. So, I mean, the whole point that um, was said earlier about finding it very difficult to be on this planet, people from off planet or this dimension or whatever you want to call it. I mean, I do feel like people's sadness stabbing me and stuff, and it always feels
Yeah,
like,
yeah, yeah.
and whenever you're kind of, I don't know, talking in this way that's sort of talking to animals or something, it always kind of feels like it's this bit that's tinged with either I guess talking about it in terms of like synesthesia, that particular emotional things have a kind of colour, so like a lot of the time sadness is tinged with a colour. So yeah, I mean, I think we're all, there's got to be something in that
So
physically.
the first chakra is survival. Second chakra is family relationship. Third chakra is societal relationships. And people oscillate between the three. The first chakra, people love wearing red, just love wearing red, and you can recognize them. Not pink, red. And the second chakra is orange, and the third chakra is yellow. And basically, the idea of control is third chakra, like your willpower. And it's a very important chakra. Willpower is super important, but that's a dominant idea in a competitive society. Basically, you either are playing the game of you are in control or you are being controlled. But as soon as you think about, seeing the world through the third chakra, you are thinking about you being in charge or someone else being in charge, and you are being not free. So looking at the dogs, they they are very, like, when they relate to others, they are either in control to be on the top, and the dog love to sit on the front seat, on the driver's seat. As soon as you step out, the dog jumps on the driver's seat because they are paying a lot of attention to that, who is in charge. And chickens, they fight to death to sit on the top bar in their chicken coop. So it's not only humans, but then it's about ego. It's like developing the ego, and then the heart chakra is green, and it's loss of the ego. You become one with the nature. That's what comes with telepathy. You lose yourself. It's not you anymore. It's like you have the body, but you are much bigger than the body. And uh, that is a green color. And usually also the strongest chakra is your fattest part on the body. So people with big breast probably will have or chest will have a heart chakra developed. But when you have like third chakra sticking out or second sticking out, or the like the bot, big bot, you can clearly see that person operates from the survival first chakra principle. So the Superman is the heart chakra, basically servant to everybody. So that's where your desire of control to go into desire for service, which is pretty much the same thing from being a ruler to a monk or a service person, like public servant. And what you're talking about, the art and music, they all higher chakras, fifth, sixth, seven, and up. So of course we want to move up, but again, I don't want to project my interests on humanity. I want to be objective scientists looking at them. So you guys, humanity, you choose whatever you like. If you want to stay in the first chakra, it's up to you. There is a choice offered. The telepathy is already here. Kai Dickens already made the revolution. It's coming. You can learn telepathy, but as you learn telepathy, you lose your ego. It will be a different person. You wouldn't be you anymore. I already lost myself so many times. It's just a choice of who do you want to be, the old you or the new you. You still have your body, but everything else will be turned upside down. The next question. Do you want to comment on that or next question? Next question. Da-da, da-da. Is our soul in the matrix?
Well, I asked them to define matrix, but I can answer that in two different perspectives.
Sure.
If they're talking about the matrix as a slave system, like the system that's been set up to keep us suppressed, then yeah, the soul is expressing itself in that system. But that doesn't mean that the soul is literally integrated and supposed to be in that. No, but so if you define matrix as reality in the universe, then yeah, definitely the soul is a fractal version, a tiny little fractal of God's source consciousness. But even though we're a tiny little fractal, we're also infinite inside of us. So we're a drop in the ocean and an ocean in the drop. So I hope that answers that question.
My answer is yeah. I don't disagree. I just want to develop your answer. So
Mm-hmm.
uh, if you start looking at anatomy of the soul, it's not a single thing. It's from here. It's like everything which is beyond physical is a soul. But once you get there, it's a complicated structure. You are part of that structure. Basically, it's you are a flower on a big tree, which is a soul. And uh, the universal consciousness is one. It's undivided to one point or everything at once. So the soul is evolved. It's a branch of a huge tree, which becomes you. So in the soul is past incarnations, essentially your talents and your traumas and what makes you energized. Essentially, it's karma. What is interesting to you. Everybody is here only because we are driven by our karma. If you lose interest in anything, even in chocolate, then we are not here. Like, I mean, there is at least something holding us here. And when I think, look, oh gosh, I'm still interested in that, and that. That's what energizes us. If you try to inhibit all your interests, like Buddhists, a traditional Buddhist tradition is, you inhibit everything, you stop being interested in anything, and then you pop up not only from this life but from the incarnational cycle, which is called samsara. So essentially, from that you realize the soul is a construct which keeps together your incarnations and accumulates. So it's some sort of self. There is some a ball of energy, ball of information, which drives that body. And somewhere in that soul, there is like an alien which drives you, and then there is probably possibly a high alien that drives that alien. So there is a whole chain, and at some point you become one with everything. But you don't have to wait to go upstairs through the multiple levels. You can go right from here to become one with everything. It's very easy. It's quite possible, and my crowd, like Ramdas and everybody else, like that's what we do. We oscillate between being here in the physical body and having our preferences to going out there and being one with the universe and being the universe. It's becomes a practice, back and forth, to do. So yes, soul is in the matrix. If you define the matrix as something artificial, anything the higher levels are, when you travel to higher levels, they are as sophisticated as this one. Ours is simplistic, actually. Yeah, I've been to lower levels and I hated them. Like there was a travel to a factory of pain, and it was so painful. It's so complicated, so beautiful, and I don't know. The beings that live there, they have very strong nervous system. They are very strong, but it's like the energies there are unbearable. So after that, the earth seems like a paradise. It's just very gentle.
Maybe that's where cryptids live, and they
What
kind
is
of cross
this?
over
I don't know
the
actually.
crypt, like skinwalkers and werewolves and all the other weird, like dense creatures, I
No,
guess you
no,
could
no.
say.
They're still on the soft side. No, no. I have
Okay.
been to very hard one. It looked like a factory, like molecular factory. It just
Yeah.
like I don't know.
Interesting.
I hated it. Like my mantra there was never again I go here, never again. I don't want it. I
Oh,
don't like it. I don't want to be
oh,
here.
bringing it back around to just to expand a little bit on that before we continue. I'll make it quick and short, but to reach those higher levels into full source consciousness and to feel that beauty, you have to start understanding like forgiveness and unconditional love and compassion for all living beings. And it's really hard for some people because they have their own problems and they project, and it's a problem. It really is. So we need to start going inward and talking to ourselves, honestly dealing with our problems. Start saying good things about yourself in the mirror, just at least one thing a day, and then start saying one good thing about to someone around you that you love, or anybody. It's anybody. Say your shirt is awesome. I love your shoes. You're an amazing person. When you start doing these things, you start loving more. You start loving to love. It becomes a natural thing, and you start increasing your frequencies, so to speak, to increase that telepathic bubble and that communication in your soul. This rises up the levels so you can communicate with your higher self more, and then your higher self communicates with source. So the more you are in a state of love and constant just in service to others, the better you're going to be up and climbing that ladder, so to speak. But one more thing. So forgiveness. Let's break it down. So forgiveness can be complicated or it can be very simple. So you can forgive one person or you can forgive everyone openly automatically. So I believe forgiveness, true forgiveness, is a way of life. It's not a single act. And this is what I teach. And people will need to understand that when someone gives you hateful energy or acts a certain way towards you, you don't have to accept that hatred, that negativity, that broken energy. You can say, hey, I see you. I observe your energy. I love you and I forgive you. You have to have perspective. You have to understand that people go through things, they have backgrounds. People act certain ways, and sometimes they don't know why they act that way. Sometimes it's sub level, so we can't judge them on that level, and we shouldn't judge anyway at any level. But what I'm saying is just openly forgive, openly, unconditionally love, and just keep going. But it doesn't mean you have to have those people around you. That's a completely different thing. So yeah, thank you.
I want to ground what you said, and ground in basically I went through that path trying to be liking and forgiving, and I discovered a few things. First is that if I start forgiving everyone, I get impractical. Like we bought a car for $3,000 for our son, and it was a broken car, and the documents were fake. So you shouldn't trust everyone. Being
Mm-mm.
forgiven and trusting is not the same thing.
That's right.
So my teaching is be forgiven and hold your wallet. So the practicality and fear, like you get rid of fear, but that becomes practicality. But you still have to be practical. You have still to drive your body. You still have to be successful. Nobody relieves you from that duty. The second thing, I tried to become nice, and at some point I realized it hurts my health. Just meditation on being nice hurts your health. You cannot really be an angel here. In this world, we are all hybrids, and you're hybrid between good and evil. There is a certain amount of evil in everyone, like the darkness. And if you try to extinguish the darkness, you break the body and break the, how do you say, the illusion. Once I was doing healing on someone, and that lady had a beast, wild beast inside her. I tried to remove that wild beast, thinking that it was a possession with wild beast, and she was resisting. And then finally, I realized it was her soul. It was a beast incarnated. It was pretty civilized beast, but wild beast is a kind of soul energy. So every one of us has that dark side in us, and you have to learn how to live with it and behave with it, and make it and deal with it non-destructively. Essentially, how to be successful while part of you is not nice at all. That is an open question. It's poorly studied, but it is studied. You can find it out. And the next thing, I think, in the same logic, was that I was studying Ramdas and giving lectures about Ramdas until finally it dawned on me that he was a follower of Nim Karoli Baba, and Nim Karoli Baba was a reincarnation of Hanuman. And Hanuman is from the Shiva tribe, Shiva followers. So in the Hindu tradition, there is a creator god, Brahma. There is a, what's that word? Keeper, continuer, preservation god, which is Vishnu. And there is a destruction god, Shiva. So Hanuman is a servant of Shiva. So the tradition of Ramdas is actually Shiva servants. And there is only one temple of creator in India, in India, and there is millions of temples of Shiva. So there are lots of Shiva worshippers. There are Brahmins, but there are lots of Shiva worshippers. And for me, like, I was always thinking that I'm on the side of the creation, and I'm a good in creation. But then I realized that there is that archetype of joker and jester, which is Hanuman, which is right in between. And the jokers often wear the clothes of checkerboard, white, black squares, symbolizing that they are hybrids between light and dark. And that is a very interesting hybrid which has a role in this society. And that is one who is allowed to say things which others are prohibited of saying, the joker. And that is the one who is the wise man who actually knows this stuff. Basically, you cannot really, if you're full of light, you cannot really understand the darkness. And if you're full of darkness, you cannot understand the light. If you're a hybrid, you can see the whole picture. And with that, lots of other things come. Like when I join some projects, I realize that although I see the whole project and I want to help, but when I actually start helping, the project falls apart. So I have that, what's that word? The opposite of blessing, the karma, the magical spell, the spell with me that if I want the project to succeed, I should stay away from it.
That's what I do as well. Something else.
So I keep the distance. I help people, but actually I keep the distance from people. It's a recent realization, but for the last few years I kept the distance, and I found that, stand-up comedians are of that gesture archetype. So I found that I'm basically a pretty good stand-up comedian. That's what I am, with a lot of darkness inside, and that's why I'm staying on this timeline, which is pretty dark but has hope. So I'm afraid that you guys will end up on the positive timeline with the contact, and I'll still be here preaching about that the contact is coming, but I don't know when I will see it. Hopefully, I will. Maybe I need to do some another in inner transformation. But basically, the message is no one is absolute angel. There is no one absolutely like even Mahatma Gandhi. He had sins. Leo Tolstoy or whoever, any of the positive guys, Ramdas, they still had a dark side, and you just have to live with it, embrace your dark side, and work with it.
But also, that's another one of the functions of art, is that the darkness goes into art. Look at someone like Stephen King, who writes endless darkness, but as a human being is a person of great sort of lightness. And as a as a again, this thing of art being de-centered from civilization, well, it's also taking away a mechanism by which people can understand their own darkness and can understand their own light.
Thank you. And another question. It's a Ramdas related question. How does one get free? I have dreams where I have to interact with weird bosses.
Art,
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 yeah, that's probably,
art.
yeah, art,
Make
music.
the making of art without any commercial aspiration or any function for that art outside of the art that you are making at that moment, at that time, which will be a complete unique moment in history that only you could have done. I would say art, and also reading and listening to everybody, listening to other people, looking at different points of view, reading things you might not normally read, watching films you wouldn't normally watch, and singing. Singing. We have this astonishing thing. We can yodel across mountaintops and transmit messages, but singing also is a poetical mechanism. We don't even understand why we sing, why we create pictures and then like to move the pictures about. I think all the tools for personal liberation are there and we have them. I think all the tools for fixing society are there and we have them as well. But I think people in capitalism get told that if they're doing things which aren't to eventually generate money, that it's a waste of time. But the majority of human creativity, the vast 99.999% of human creativity has not made money, and that's not what it's for. It's for finding out things. Art is like science. It is a form of research into the nature of reality, and everybody can do it, and everyone will do it in a completely different way to the person next to them.
That's right.
I want
And
to
it's a way
say,
of, sorry.
Nadalie,
Yes, it's also
go
a
ahead.
way of transmitting or transmuting your darkness into a form where you can just release it. And it's
Yes.
like it's taking it from in here to out here and kind of like trapping it in the art, so to speak. But you're also figuring, like you said, Ergo, it's about expressing yourself and also looking at other people's art and understanding yourself through other people's art. So it's like an echo. We're all echoing back and
Yeah.
forth. We're creating art for other people to help their darkness. And like,
Yeah.
sometimes like I used to 3D model monsters and I create these dark arts. A lot of people haven't seen my dark art. I do create like, you know, monsters and stuff. But it helps me get that out and not become a supervillain. Instead, I'll be a superhero, you know? So you have to have that channel, that source of flowing into and transmuting that and understanding you have to accept the darkness inside of you, but it doesn't mean you have to act upon it in an unhealthy way.
Yeah.
You have to say, okay, I see you, I observe you, I do not want to become that, but I see you and I won't ignore you. but this is what we're going to do about it. And we're going to transmute it in another way. And that's the part of being a biological being, whether you're a hybrid or a human or whatever. It's understanding how to piece everything together and understand yourself in many different facets in the reality in the universe. Like, yeah, yeah.
Okay, I wanted to say that angels and aliens are not the same thing. Aliens have their evolution, they evolve genetically, and angels are created by on a factory by God. So they are essentially agents of God. They don't have their own free will. Their free will is the free will of God, of the primary universal consciousness. So I met angels here, and sometimes they incarnated here to get the experience of living as humans. Then they have free will, but then they come back and they lose free will. And sometimes they just pop in here just to give messages. And very often I see angels in, not often, sometimes I see angels in homeless or some other very, not very attractive forms, but they give messages, and you can feel it as an angel. You can feel it's not the person who they play to be. It's just completely different energy. And like the example was, I was traveling somewhere. I was late to a very important meeting, and I needed to be in better shape. And then I had to stop to go in the restroom and Home Depot, just someplace. And then a person faced me and smiled. It was a Home Depot worker, but he was hilarious. He had a huge belly, and he was extraordinarily happy and joyful. And he gave me an impulse of joy. And then, as I approached the same place, another person faced me and also gave me an impulse of joy for no reason. Just welcome me. You're welcome here. Great. Will do great. So, two angels just kind of gave me help. And on the other hand, sometimes they test me. So how would you treat a person who looks ugly and unattractive and downcast? So Ramdas says that anyone treat everyone as if they are uh, God in disguise. So that's the answer to the question of somebody like have dreams of weird bosses and stuff like that. So essentially, one of the steps to freedom is to understand you are God trapped in that body, and everybody is also God, including the most disgusting, like I don't know what you do, like snakes, uh, spiders, viruses. Viruses are also uh, God in disguise. And my recipe for freedom is to give up. Once you lose your interest, once you give up, then you're absolutely free. And sometimes being free is boring because you don't have any more interests. You don't want where to go. You don't know where to go. You don't want to go anywhere. You're like, okay, now I'm free. What's up? What should I do here? So I intentionally sometimes pick up some interest, just like, how about I will be interested in that? And then that kind of gets me going, because otherwise, if you are like really saint, you don't want anything. You're like looking at everything remotely, distantly. I think we are all, the time is over, so I will give everyone opportunity to speak, sing. Oh, guys, can you sing something?
Oh,
Can we sing something?
I don't know off the top.
Oh well, we could
Oh, you
put a
can
little machine
make the
on
thing,
in the
can't
background.
you?
We'll
Yeah,
put
this
a little
the,
machine
the
on.
thing can sing. It's object-oriented ontology music. They get to sing.
We can hear
Yeah.
it.
The machines get to have a little sing.
Move the chair so it's more visible. Yeah, great. That's a good enough.
Aliens are great. Aliens are great.
It's all gonna be fine because that's what is gonna happen, and then we'll all have interesting interstellar sort of universities, and yeah, that's the song.
That's our song.
Wow, thank you very
I
much.
love that so
Amazing.
much. Thank
You
you. That
proved
was so
it. You
precious.
proved it. You're aliens. You're qualified, certified, absolutely
you are
extraordinary.
Techno
Yep.
is everyone.
Love it.
Yeah, right, really,
Very
really great to
beautiful.
meet you both.
Your
Yeah,
reports about your alien visits are fade in comparison to this performance.
What a beautiful expression of source. Thank you so much.
Nadalee, I guess your turn. Whatever you want to do for closing.
Yeah, I'll do my light language as usual. Hang on. Ah, just a disclaimer. I have to do this every time. It may do different things to your body. Drink lots of water. Ground. Uh, it's very helpful for a lot of people. So don't listen with your ears. Listen with your heart. And just take a moment and relax before I begin. Man sona mano manan heyon mana anasom Trommeanasom manana sano nasanna heyana l'otro naso meyana na heyana na so.
That was beautiful. Thank you so much. That was really, really beautiful.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
Okay, I'm doing my piece. That's from my planet. From my planet, I know the name. It's if you go to Pleiades, go to Startageta, then there is a planet called Tara there. All right, with that, we close. I need to show my picture. Da-da-da-da. Can you see? Yep. Da-da-da-da-da-da. You can see. Oh, da-da-da. No, I cannot see myself. Okay. So you can find the book postcontact.world about the post-contact scenario. Starseed Genetics. I forgot to announce. By the way, we are analyzing the DNA from people. We need families, father, mother, child with abduction experiences. And contact us here, fill out the form, and we are raising money to analyze starseeds and discover alien genes and help starseeds to actually prove that we are from the aliens. And this will help the disclosure. It will be one of the best proofs of the alien visitation. And you can find all other my projects at maxrempel.com. And any of these have my contact, so welcome to write to me. Now that you can show your card and introduce the United
you.
Experiences.
Again, I am the CEO Executive Director of the United Experiencers Initiative. There's the business card. The back of it needs to be updated. But the website is theuei.org. I need to start doing what Max does and print it out on paper. But it's theuei.org. If you want to make a difference in the world, whether you're an experiencer or not, if you want to support disclosure or a healthy planet or healthy people, please join us there and sign up. We really would love for you to join us there. Yes, it's theuei.org, and we are accepting donations through the website now. It is all set up, but we're still waiting for the 501c3, the actual 1023 form to be approved to be tax deductible. So currently, right now, it's not, but it could. What's the word? Go back. I forget that word.
Retroactively.
Yeah, retroactive. If it gets approved,
So
it
we'll
could be
give you a receipt
retroactive.
one way or another. Don't
Yeah,
worry about
absolutely.
tax deductions.
Anything
And where
is
do the
helpful.
money go?
Yeah, dollar, whatever, it doesn't matter. Anything is very helpful. We need funds to get everyone together and start doing different things for the community, cleaning up the environment, all kinds of stuff. So I believe the UEI is going to be a really big thing, and I feel it. I've been told that by the ETs, and it's time for us as a collective to come together and actually make a difference. And we need that centralness to come and something to gravitate around to be able to help, And then you can go forth and do your own stuff on the side as well. We're not saying that you exclusively have to be part of us and do, but we're planting that seed and giving people that place to gravitate towards. But anyway, you can also contact me at Nadalee, Nadalee, at theuei.org, or you can contact me. My phone number, 423-389-4463. You can text me. That's my business number. And I just love you all so much. And let's make the world a better place. And it starts with you. It starts with everyone coming together to, compassion. All that good stuff we talked about today. Love you
All
guys.
right. Thank you very
Really
much.
nice.
And
Thank you so much. Right.
Ergo and Lottie and Nadalee, thank you for joining. The guys on TikTok, thank you very much for watching us and thank you for your comments. The guys on YouTube, thank you very much. And ladies on YouTube, your comments were wonderful. Thank you very much. And you can find us on all those sites we just showed. Goodbye.
Yeah. Bye.
Don't hang up yet.
Yeah, don't